feet above your head. But if you set the pattern correctly, you get a very large single LED circle up there, many feet across. And what it's saying to you is this incoherent light that doesn't focus and travel like a laser actually does throw the light a distance. And so by looking at the geometrical arrangement on an LED unit, you can actually tell if it's going to go deeper or not.
Talk about some of your phototherapy products.
The single frequency lights with one light are really good for several types of things. You can do acupuncture work with a single light. Excuse me, I left one out thing. You must look at your LED unit to make sure it has both a pulsing frequency, it turns on and off, and it has a non-pulsing frequency, continuous, because continuous will kill pain and pulsing will stimulate healing. So your unit, whatever you buy, needs to have both options. It can't be just a continuous light like a laser. It has to have the ability to pulsate also. So now single lights are really quite good for treating acupuncture points, and the solid light will sedate the point, and the pulsing light will stimulate it. So you can get stimulate and sedate of acupuncture points.
So low back pain, for example.
You want a bigger area, bigger light that will cover more area. The bigger lights are usually disc or light pad or light disc that covers bigger area and can easily work around lower back pain, neck pain, that kind of thing. Also, the bigger the units, the better the geometrical arrangement, and so therefore the deeper it can go. So the bigger units have the ability to go deeper than the units with one light or three lights. So we span the whole spectrum. We have like a single light unit, a 3-light unit, a 17-light unit, and a 23-light unit. And they can be strapped on your body if you want, like a big Band-Aid, and wrapped around it, keep your hands free, or you can hold it with a light disc, can be established with a handle, and you can reach any place in your body.
Do you find that most people find it hard to believe through their belief systems or to accept that light can be therapeutic and have healing properties?
No, I think that people intuitively have a concept that the light will help their body. They know that because when they go out in sunlight, they feel better. So there's this intuitive and even esoteric that we are light bodies, right? I mean, people
Correct.
Hear this all the time and stuff, and there's a physical truth to that same concept, even though that's a spiritual concept. They feel that light is part of their body, and if you treat the body, which is a light absorption entity, you can help and repair it. So intuitively, I think people believe in light.
I have a controversial question for you.
Okay.
With the aerosol spraying of our atmosphere that is going on all the time all over the world, that is putting violent chemicals in the air, and what we're breathing in are nanoparticles, pretty ferocious things. Is this impacting the light that's shining through to us?
Physically, the aerosol in the atmosphere is reducing or glancing off the especially ultraviolet portion from the sun. And since ultraviolet is the most important part of sunlight on our basic health, then yes, it is, because it reflects away ultraviolet, and then even though you're in the sun, if you happen to be under these aerosol spraying things, then what you're receiving on your body is less. So even I think that's the biggest effect, is it acts as a screen on ultraviolet.
Yeah, and I'm only talking with respect to the sunlight being able to get absorbed in your body. And I would imagine that there's a place for the microwave stations, dirty electricity impacts. I wonder if this is also polluting the good sunlight that we're getting in our system and rendering it null and void.
I think the impact of the microwaves, et cetera, are not impacting the sunlight directly. In fact, they're part of the spectrum that comes from the electromagnetic spectrum, so they're all sort of cousins of each other. But the radiation from the microwaves cause a change in the tissue of the body. It causes toxification in the body, and the cells become toxic and therefore much more open to impact by, say, the ultraviolet and sunlight. In essence, I guess what I'm saying is that a person subjected to a lot of microwave is probably going to have adverse effects from the UV of sunlight, where somebody who is not highly affected by the microwaves is probably going to do very well in sunlight because the UV is not going to bother them. And the difference is one has toxic cells, the other has healthy cells.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. We're not even going to talk about all the adverse effects of those things on the body beyond what you're saying, but relative to sunlight, I just wanted to know what your take was on it.
Right. Incidentally, I think maybe I'd throw in a completely separate topic here, just for a second, if you want. It has to do with exposure to computer screens and TVs and so forth.
Absolutely.
And it has nothing to do directly with the radiation. We've talked before about radiation effects from those. They're fluorescent tubes in computer screens, the desktop computer screens, and CRT screens on TVs. They all have a radiation effect that is detrimental. But I think this point, which we came across in studying brainwave patterns, your brain produces basically 4 frequencies: alpha, beta, theta, and delta. And a lot of people know that. Your alpha state is your dream state. You produce that. Your body produces these brainwave patterns. Well, there was some studies going on to try to find out if there was a correlation between brain waves and diseases or medical problems. Did the person who had leukemia show a different brainwave pattern than a normal person? And did somebody who had cancer produce a different one? So, what they were trying to do is find something that could use brainwave patterns to diagnose problems. But in doing this, they came across an interesting phenomena, and that is that when in an experiment, when they were actually monitoring brainwave patterns to somebody who had some sort of healing going on. In other words, they could take anything as simple as an aspirin to light therapy to any kind of antibiotic, etc., anything that caused an improvement or health change in the body. They noticed the brainwave pattern change. Boom. And they discovered what looked like a pattern that said this body is healing from whatever source originated the healing. Didn't matter. It just says, oh, our body's healing now versus not healing. And then they were monitoring this one person, and all of a sudden the brainwave pattern went boom. The healing pattern literally disappeared. So they went out to see what this person was doing. They were remotely monitoring it. The person had just turned on the TV set.
Wow.
So translating what I'm saying here is a TV set has a refreshing rate, and a computer has a refreshing rate. And you know what that is, but for our audience, that means the picture is refreshing many thousands of times a second. And it's all these dots on the screens. Well, this refreshing rate pattern that was on TVs and computers and in fluorescent lights actually stopped the body from healing. it actually ceased the healing concept until you turn the TV off and the body resumed.